So every time I went to Pinterest, I saw this picture, and I was like, this is such a nice, interesting little painting. And it turns out that this is from Yuming Lee. Yuming Lee is an artist. The only thing I know about them is they make really pretty pictures, and they live in California. I don't know their gender, so I'm going to be calling them they, them. And I decided to do studies of this person's artwork, mainly to get more accustomed to digital painting, and two, because it has like this really interesting way of treating color that really appealed to me. As I look at their artwork, I can tell they have like a strong foundational training, but it also has this like newness to me. I can tell that they're inspired by Impressionism. I can tell that they have some Art Nouveau in them. They have a lot of Final Fantasy fan art and some Zelda fan art. So I assume they have some love for Yoshitaka Amano, who is a beautiful artist. I love their work too. I'll maybe do studies of them. But I looked for a couple of pieces. So this is the first of two pieces that I decided to study. And then I did 2 pieces of my own, trying to sort of emulate the style. Again, nothing fancy. I chose this piece because this is a atelier exercise, right? Just painting a bust in oils is one of the, like, I've already done this before, sort of, kind of, but I haven't painted a bust in digital. There's a really strong sense of design when you do a bust, because a human kind of did it already, right? I tried my best not to use color picking for Yuming Lee's piece. I wanted to try to emulate that, to find out their palette by myself. But it was very difficult at one point, especially for the second piece. I think I started with I try my best not to zoom in and out so much, so it doesn't look, hard on the eyes. Especially to you, dear viewer, who chose to watch this while you're doing the dishes. Put this in the background while you're cleaning your room. Because this is the way I watch YouTube videos, so that's what I expect other people are doing too. Traditionally, the way that I've operated is that everything in dark is just ambiance, and information is conveyed in light, right? If you're going to do detail, do it in the more lit part of the picture. You reserve detail in the dark because normally the eye doesn't capture what's going on. It's light that travels into the eye and tells us what the shape of something is, its volume, its three-dimensionality, and so on. In this piece, one of the things that I learned was that though I was very interested in the way that they did the light part, that's what attracted me initially, a lot of detail is spent in the dark. And I can, as I said up top, I can tell that Yu Ming Lee is very influenced by Impressionism, right? Which is to say, we're not painting the information, we're not painting like a diagram of the eye, we're painting how it appears to us. Just the impression of it. What is the sensible impression of this thing? This is how the first one turned out. After a while, I was like, I think I've gotten everything I need from this piece in particular. I don't think I can learn that much more from this particular piece, so I think it's time to move on. The next one I tried was this one, which is from the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy I. This design comes from Final Fantasy Dissidia, if I'm not mistaken, though it is based on the artwork from Yoshitaka Amano. It looks very ethereal, doesn't it? It looks this very soft lighting. I'm not entirely sure like where the Warrior of Light is presently in. And I chose this piece in particular because of how much color is in it, even though it's like a supplementary color palette, which means they're just using supplementary colors. Yeah, duh. So they're only using blues and purples, and they use yellows, and that's it, right? I found it kind of difficult to apply, I want to say the anatomy, right? That's the word I want to choose. I don't know if it's the correct word to choose, but by that what I mean is it's hard to find the bony landmarks in the face, right? Like where is the cheekbone, where is the jawline, where is the ridge where the nose connects. And I like that for a very long time, this just looks like mush. I didn't start blocking out like shadow and light in this one because most of it's in shadow actually. So I felt it kind of redundant to do that. And I wonder if Warrior of Light uses MAC products or NYX, because look at that. Look at that lipstick, girl. This is something that I have very little experience with, drawing an anime face and giving it 3D volume. I don't really want to use the word realistic, because I don't want you to think of certain implications that word would have. Maybe just like convincing that this creature, this angel, this warrior of light can exist in 3D space, right? So anime features have just different proportions and different anatomy that I'm not sure how to do. Like, if I wasn't looking at this, if I wasn't doing this as a study in my own personal work, I don't think I would have arrived at, a face like this. And partly one of the things that I like about this piece is how androgynous the Warrior of Light looks. I know in the Dissidia game that is the case as well, even though Warrior of Light is kind of like the Captain America of in Dissidia. Like, his role is he like brings everybody together, and he's like a strategist, and he's like, Avengers assemble, and then he's like the first person that lady brings about, or brings to the Dissidia world, whatever it's called. It's been a very long time since I played this game, but I used to love it. That too is one of the reasons why I chose this piece, because I just hadn't thought of Warrior of Light in a long time. So in the first one, the thing that I struggled with, I think, was my color choices. And then this one, I gave myself a little more leeway, and I chose the singular purple that they have in their pauldron, in their shoulder armor piece. So that's why I think I did it. I hedged my bets a little bit, right? I gave myself a little bit more to start off. So I think the thing I struggled with most was the drawing itself, and how minuscule the value differences are, particularly in the eye. That is something that I think I didn't achieve that well. One of the things I really enjoyed about doing this was looking at how much color variation there was within the shadow, which is not something I do often, and it reminded me of this other painter, John Singer Sargent. And it reminded me of this other painter named John Singer Sargent, where he would have something be the same value, but just a different hue, right? So this is, Color Theory 101. Colors have hue, they have saturation, and they have value, right? Some colors are darker, like even if they're the same saturation, a yellow and a green, if you compare the two, green is just darker than yellow. If you have different yellows, one will be more saturated, right? One will be like a yellow that's closer to red, and one is a yellow that's closer to blue, and that will make like a green color. The other one will make like an orange color, but they're, colors in between. So with this, it was kind of fun, the hue variation within a same area, and how saturated that blue was, which was very surprising to me. I like the blue around the cheek. That was very surprising to me when I made it. I expected all of this to be more or less desaturated, but it's just that everything around the area looks more saturated. So when you look at this area in the cheek, it looks less saturated in comparison. This is another thing that's very fun about painting. How things are more or less relative, right? Like, is this bluer than this? Yes, but actually I'm using a red to make it look bluer, right? The eye that's furthest from us is so, like, almost not there. And if you look at Yu Ming Lee's brushstrokes, it's very, like, indescript. It's very ambiguous what's going on with there. And it's hard to be ambiguous, right? Like, when we want to say something in our painting, we think that detail is king, right? This is a thing. This is also, I think, when we want to make, like, artwork that wows us, we always think about, like, the level of detail, and that detail is king, and the video game has to have 1 billion polygons so that it looks realistic. And that's not, in reality, actually how our eyes work, right? When we look at hair, we don't really see every single strand of hair. We just see, like, the shape on top of someone's head. Later, if we look, really up close, then we can see every single strand, but that's a very specific situation. And ask for permission when you are so close to someone. And this too is why I didn't want to say realistic, because that kind of conjures into the brain, like, photorealism, or those Instagram posts that do wonders, where they draw hair for 120 hours. This single strand of hair for 120 hours. Or they make a Cheeto bag look exactly like a photo. And that is very highly technical, and I think it's cool if you can do that. It's just not what I was trying to do. And it's not what I try to do in general in my art throughout. Here, I think in general, in my piece, the eye is too detailed. It's much less ambiguous than in the Yu Ming Lee piece. So, but you live and you learn. I did my best. That's all we can do, right? And here, I think you can tell, like, what was my main focus. I just wanted to focus on the face. I didn't really put that much effort into the sword or the armor as much as I did in the face, right? Because I was just looking for how they treat color, right? And especially in this, that's like a higher key image than the previous one. And for some reason, my mind went to, what is a thing what is an image that has this sort of level of contrast in it that I could do, where I just draw it, I have reference, and I just focus on the painting of it. I am I'm so sorry, dear viewer, but this is where my brain went. This is the image that I thought of making when I wanted to apply Yu Ming Lee's art. And I'm actually not sorry. It's just, I am actually pretty pleased with how the picture turns out in the end. But yes, dear viewer, this is Shrek. And it is the Shrek that is the meme face. I just thought I would try my hand at a green skin tone, which is already kind of weird, and greens are almost not present in Yu Ming Lee's work. They mainly use purples and blues, so green would be on the opposite side of the color spectrum, and I wanted to try and see if I could make it work. I'm not sure I did, but I did my best, right? I can only do my best, and that's all I can do. Can I do better than my best? Then that's not my best, is it? Here, I'll admit, I didn't thumbnail sketch. I just went right into it. Which is a no-no. Don't do that. You should always do your thumbnail sketches, no matter what. Even if you're doing the meme, even if you're doing a Shrek meme, you should do your thumbnail sketches. Be better than me. Like and subscribe if you're better than me. The whole planet subscribes instantly. Can't tell you all the secret. I'm not that huge fan of Shrek. I'm a fan of him as like a cultural icon, but the movies themselves, I don't know if they're my favorite. I think 1 and 2 are really good. 3 and 4 I could live without them. And it's funny that this image comes from Shrek the Third. Look into his beautiful eyes, that beautiful gaze. For Shrek is love, Shrek is life. So because I had just done The Warrior of Light, I wanted to do, high key, the background not as contrasty as the other one. Like I wanted Shrek to feel like part of it. And then I decided that a low key would help better, right? To separate Shrek from the background would help better to make the piece stronger. I think either could have worked, really. It was just my decision in the moment. I have to say it's a little unnerving to see Shrek painted in this way. I think it goes to that thing I was saying about realistic versus convincing, and in this way I feel it's a little more convincing that Shrek is a real being. I don't know why I decided to make a shit post. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I'm sorry if you don't like it. If you don't like it, thanks for watching 20 minutes of me not really talking that much, is it? I mean, I like it. I like this piece. I think it's the best I've ever done. As I said up top, I go to Pinterest kind of often, and every time I see like this meme artwork that is so well made and so beautifully done, I'm always jealous. I'm always jealous that I'm not like that. And guess what? I do have it in me. I can be a true artist and make Shrek look like this. And here I'm changing the proportions on Shrek's face. Comparing this to the Warrior of Light, I did not struggle as much with the anatomy because, his cheekbones are like right there. His jawline is right there. Wow, that zoom in was great, wasn't it? And there it is. My magnum opus. I will never do anything as beautiful as this again. I was making another piece that was not a shitpost, but the video would have been too long, and as of recording this, it's not done. So once that's done, I'll upload it, and I'll even put it on Instagram. I'll make it a print, probably a limited time release print, so watch out for that. And yeah, did you learn anything from this? I learned a lot, actually. I learned a lot of color treatment, and as I should have learned already, I should do my freaking thumbnail sketches. Gosh dang it. But yeah, so I'll just leave you with these images on screen, And I'm gonna stop talking now. I hope you have a wonderful day. Donkey.